I've given up with the Adamus thing. It's buggy. I'm going to contact support and let them know I cannot get it to work as it should. And if they got no solution, or they can't get it to work, I'm going to cancel my account with Adamus. And that device I'll just use for recording my videos. So, yeah. So we'll give it another go. So I'm actually using my mobile phone now, connected to the Starlink. So you can probably see the Starlink there on the ground behind me. There it is. Yeah, back again, Paul. I don't know how successful that other thing was. I've connected on my mobile phone now. I've given up using that Adamus thing. In fact, I don't think I'll use it again for live streaming unless they actually rectify the issues with it. I'm actually paying a service for it, so I'm going to get in contact with their support account with them and just use that device just for recording videos to edit when I'm back at home, and just use my mobile phone when I go live. So yeah, which is a pain, but at least I can read all the messages here, and at least it's reliable. Now we are connected through to the Wi-Fi on the Starlink here, so giving that a go. Now if you're wondering what, I can give you some, actually let's change the camera here, and I got Starlink running off. I want you to have a look to see what it's consuming power. So you can see the AC load. It's a Starlink, obviously requires excuse me, 240 volt to run, so it's using 40 watts, 0.2 of an amp, and the draw on the battery right now is 4.7 amps, but you've got to consider that I'm running a 110 litre fridge freezer which is running, and all these devices here. So on average I've noticed this Starlink uses about 2 or 3 amps. It consumes about 2 or 3 amps through the DC side of it things. So that 45 watt there AC load is around 2 or 3 amps. So it's very efficient. And the beauty is with these is you only need approximately a decent, as long as you get a decent brand name 300 watt pure sine wave inverter, you'll be able to run these. Now in saying this, my Victron Multi Plus is extremely efficient. So whatever your cheaper inverters are probably not going to be as efficient. Well, they're not. I can tell you that for a fact. They're not going to be as efficient as the Victrons. So you're probably going to find what you use most likely will end up using more than 2 or 3 amps per hour. Now how much more? Honestly, I don't think you're going to hardly notice on a little load like that. Don't know. It would be interesting to see, wouldn't it? What's that noise? I don't know. Oh, that chat's TV and iPad. Normally there's a lag between them. Cool. Sounding good and going loud and clear in Melbourne. Here we go again. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it was working before. I was sitting there chatting away and nothing was coming up on the comments, and then it said that the video had stopped, and yet it was showing it was still live on it. This is this contraption here. That's it there. You can see the antennas. It connects to the network. This has got a solid state drive, so it actually records what I film, and there's a screen there, so I can actually sit here and watch myself as I'm filming. They're brilliant for that, but absolutely shit on everything else. So here it is here. Fairly portable. I tell you one thing, these are a lot smaller than I thought they were. When it came, I was a bit worried how I'm going to cart that around, but there she is. So I know a few people are waiting on these. I know Terry's getting one. I think he's getting it on sometime any day from Wednesday. And let me flick the camera out. Yeah, I am. I went up going for the Starlink. The reason I went for Starlink is because my NBN at home, hang on, there you go. My NBN at home is terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. It's been cutting out so bad, and I'm even having trouble of late playing YouTube. So I ordered the Starlink. I decided to order it back in early November, and guys, the thing only just arrived not so long ago. Well, when I say not so long ago, a couple of weeks ago. So I had to wait a really long time before I got mine, because they had run out of stock worldwide at the time when I ordered it. So yeah, that was a long wait, but I've got it here now, and I've been mucking around for the last 2 weeks, and I'm really impressed with it. Really impressed. But as long as it stays the way it is, at the moment there's no data cap, but I can't see that's going to continue for long. I'll bet you I have a feeling after this sale ends, we can buy the dish for half price. Probably early next year they're going to introduce the data cap, and if it's anything to go by in America, it's 1 terabyte, the data cap, so which isn't too bad. But what happens after you've gone through 1 terabyte, then they will slow the speed right down. And going by what I see in America, they slow the speed down that much that it's virtually useless. You cannot use it for anything. You cannot stream anything, nothing whatsoever. So if you're a really big data user, you're going to suffer big time unless you start coughing up more money. In America, you can pay extra and continue your fastest speed, which I think is wrong. In a way, I think it's wrong, because what's that doing is punishing the average person. The rich out there, which probably most likely are going to be some of the ones that are really going through shitloads of data with these things, and they're just going to cough up at, whatever the extra $1 or $2 they're going to charge per gigabyte when you go over 1 terabyte. That's nothing to them, so they'll just keep using it. And the poor ones that are going to suffer are the ones that are working hard for their dollar, working hard to be able to afford to buy one of these, even at $450, and then to pay $179 a month as well, and then to have a data cap, because some fools out there are going through terabytes and terabytes of data and causing congestion on the network, which is the problem we're seeing. That camera's a bit high, isn't it? I've got the camera just sitting on a bit of a platform here, because it's one thing I hate about filming with these mobile cameras, is it bypasses all the amazing features that these phones have when you're going live on Google, on YouTube. The anti-stabilization does not work. So if you pick the phone up, it's just shaking all over the place, and I hate that. So unfortunately, I have to stick, and it's a real pain because now I've got to sit right in here at the back of the car, and it's like a sauna in here, guys. To be honest, I'm just about, my shirt is almost soaked right through the skin. There's no breeze out there. It's quite nice. In fact, it's too hot. Sorry, you're gonna have to put up with the shaking. I just need a bit of a breeze. Oh, that's better. Hang on. What if we put this over here? How's that? Haha! Perfect! Haha! Another use for the input, 240 volt input on the vehicle. And I've got a nice breeze here. You're probably going to get a lot of wind noise through the mic on that phone, but just bear with it because I can't film anymore at the back there. It's too hot, guys. It's too hot. Oh, that breeze. Oh, what a difference. That's beautiful. Whew. Feels like the aircon has just gone through. Oh, nice sea breeze. It's crazy. No wonder there's no one around. There's no one in the river. I don't blame them. Why would you? There was a few boats out, but they've all took off because there's a boat ramp just up here, and they're gone. They left. I can see one boat right down there come back in. It looks like a bigger one. And there's a large boat, can't see it now. It's like a big yacht that's just moored just around the corner here. Looked really flash. So yeah, nice river, this one here, the Burnett River. I've got no comments. All clear now, that's good. I had NBN home, $110. Not bad. Hang on. Comments won't stay up unless I hold my finger on the screen. Nighthawk for the caravan, $30. Satellite phone, $25. All gone. $174 for home, and caravan works very good Australia wide. Yeah, it does. I think it's brilliant. It's absolutely, oh, I'm amazed how quick. I don't know if it came up when I started filming before, and I was going through this Atomus device that was really shonky. I was mentioning at home, this has never happened before, but when I click on a video on YouTube, it starts playing immediately. There's no lag. I don't have to wait for it to download a certain percentage of the video before to play. And then sometimes as it's playing through the video, particularly if I'm streaming it in 4K, it'll stop. It'll stop. It can't keep up. And always been like that. And when I first connected the Starlink and I hooked it up through Wi-Fi on my TV and I click on YouTube, hump, it's airplane straight away. Oh, whoa. And when I'm using it on my computer at home, the first time I used it, I was editing, I was going through editing the video because I wanted to see how much quicker it is to upload a 4K video over my NBN at home. And it's a lot more quicker, naturally. But because my NBN is crap at home, absolutely shit. Because the copper lines is just shonk. And NBN will not fix it. They will not fix it. I had one of the NBN techs tell me this. He said, just go out there, do enough to get it to work, and then leave. That's it. Don't fix it. Just get it to work. I don't care what speed it is, as long as it's working, then go away. So This is how NBN. This is your NBN in Australia, guys. This is your NBN. What they're telling to their workers. All right. I had them tell me, not just one. I had more than one tell me this. In fact, the last time someone came over and worked on the NBN line on my street, he actually purposely stayed behind and did his best to try to fix the line so I've got a more reliable and faster and actually get the speed that I'm paying for. I'm not getting the speeds that I'm paying for. And actually get the speed that I'm paying for. But you should have seen the mess. I sat there out with him and you should have seen the mass of spaghetti wires that he cleared out and trying to rejoin. But he told me frankly, he says, but eventually you're going to have problems again, and it's starting now. I've noticed we've had a fair bit of rain of late and we're getting problems again. All the joints, all the connections are not waterproof. Apparently they're supposed to be sealed in some type of resin with a cover over the top. But NBN are going around and telling the workers not to do that. Just to get it so it works. So it's not repaired properly. So I've decided, well, I've got no choice. I'm going to have to go for Starlink and use the Starlink to replace my NBN at home. So what I've done is I've purchased the home version. Now the reason I purchased the home version over the RV version is because the home version, now I think this is something that's going to come in effect in the future, in the near future. I think this is going to benefit me going for the home version in the near future. And I'll explain why. So I went for the home version because the home version will give you prioritize your data and speed when you're at home, in the home. I don't know what area it covers. I'm going to test it. I'm going to test it. So right now I've paid extra. Well, actually I haven't paid extra. I've got free portability upgrade for the next 2 or 3 weeks. They haven't charged me for it, and yet I went in my account and I've got the portability. So what you can do with the home version, you can pay an extra $35, which brings it out to the same price monthly fee as the RV version. And then same with you guys with the RV version. I can use it anywhere in Australia. But I've been hearing mixed reports that as soon as you leave home, your home version won't work. And other people telling me, oh, I've had mine work 15 kilometers away from home. So it's just something I'm going to have to put to the test and see what sort of distance. Wow, look at this real nice boat. That's another really nice yacht. Wow, there's a few really nice boats in the Burnett River I noticed this morning. Really expensive ones that you normally only see in Gold Coast or Sydney or Melbourne or Sanctuary Cove. So I don't know if some events happening in here or whatever. I've got no idea. So yeah, what we're talking about now. So that's why. Hello Luke, how you going? Touring with Tyrone, I've been telling people in Bundy not to connect to the NBN and use satellite instead. Yeah. Oh, tell me about it. I got so many farmer friends of ours are on that NBN Wi-Fi. Oh my gosh, it is woeful. Particularly in the Moore Park area. NBN just doesn't... You know, NBN, on one side of the street, there's certain parts along Moore Park Street. On one side of the street they can get NBN, on the other side they can't get NBN through the phone line on the other side of the street. So then they have to use the NBN Wi-Fi, and it is so severely congested. It is shocking, terrible. And even the ones that are on the side of the street, driving out to Moore Park, it's on the right hand side, even those that are on that side of the street, the NBN, if they're using the copper, is still up to shit. worse than what I am. So yeah, our copper line system, the copper in the Bundy area, is really bad. If you're lucky enough to live within 2 or 3 excuse me, I got this bit of a cough that I've been fighting to try to get rid of, and it comes and goes. It seems to be worse when I'm talking a lot. It seems to come more then. So yeah, it's not really a cough, sore throat, it's just a itchiness in the throat, just itchy. So yeah, and yet those folks, you know, it's just shocking. So yeah, this is unbelievable. I've rarely seen, even out here, I run tests out here, and it's still pushing the same speed that I'm getting at home, where I'm prioritized. Now, prioritized. You guys that are down in America or Canada will know exactly what I'm talking about, because they've got major congestion. Major congestion. It's got to the point where they have dropped the speeds right down to the point where you cannot stream. You cannot watch any YouTube or anything like that, just so the network can keep going. Now, I don't know if that will ever happen here to that extent. I don't think it will, because we don't have the population here in Australia as they do in America or Canada. Places in America like New York, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, all those places with those real thick population growth, is they've got very slow speeds, particularly if you're using the RV version, because of the congestion. So it's the speeds throttled right down so that everyone can at least get some sort of signal. So far we haven't seen that happen here. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I don't think it will happen here, because we don't have the population growth that they do over there. So we should not see the congestion here what they see there. Now, I remarked to one guy that commented on a forum that I'm following for Starlink. Gosh, I don't know how those guys could sit out in the boat. There's a guy out in the boat with a kid in the middle of the river here on this hot day. That'd be the worst. Not for me. Not for me. You can keep your boats, guys. If it's got a cabin, and preferably aircon, I'll go in the boat with you. If it doesn't have that, I won't go in any boats anywhere with that type of condition. I'm used to being in boats way out sea. When I was doing a lot of the turtle research, I was going out to sea in the marine park boats to go out to the little islands. Let me tell you, there's freaking some awesome rides out there on those marine park boats. I remember the two guys at the front driving the boats. They had these air activated cushioned seats, big hydraulics, so just going like this in the waves. Of course they only had two, so us researchers had to sit in the back in the lounge suite and lounge chair or whatever. And I'm not kidding, guys, we were just flying up and down, constantly hitting the ceiling, back down on the chair. When you come down, hopefully you land on something flat. Most of the time it's a chair, and then the next wave comes and boom, straight up, and you had to bend your back down like this so your back would hit the top of the roof and not your head. That's how rough it was out there. Oh dear, I've been out in some rough seas. Crazy. And of course those marine boats, they're not really big. They're not really big boats they use out in those islands. But we had no choice this time, guys. I went out to Gladstone and we're out to the boat, the boat harbour, whatever they call it out there, the boat marine, to catch the marine boat to go to Northwest Island, which is northwest of Heron Island, to do a couple of weeks turtle research over there on that remote dish island. And we waited 3 days for the weather to drop down, so we just camped in the marine, just in the airbeds and sleeping bags in the marine base at the marina, just camping in there waiting for the weather to cool. And it got to the stage where the guy just said, guys, we got no choice, I can't stay here any longer, I've got to get back to Heron Island, because they got a marine base at Heron Island. I have to get back there, I can't stay any longer, so we're going to have to get through this storm, these winds. And it was the roughest waters I've ever been through. It was unbelievable, it's just white froth everywhere. And that's when, actually a little bit scary in some ways, but the boat was very, very seaworthy. As you can probably guess, funded by the government. A boat like that goes out in that sort of water. Got every safety feature you could think of, except for the poor buggers that don't have those comfy chairs, like I did. Never forget that. No, not COVID. I've done all the tests, all clear. I just had a little bug that was getting around. And saying that, there is a lot of COVID in Bundaberg. Apparently it's just spread like crazy. So I've been staying really low, not going to too many places. So yeah, but I done the tests, and they all come back clear. I think I did about 4 tests recently, all clear. So they gave me all the go ahead. So I just come down with some type of bug. A bit like probably more just like a flu, a cold. A mild one. And just, I virtually have got rid of it, except just for that little bit of a cough that comes every now and then. As you see right now, I don't have it at all. Sometimes I just get this little tickle in the throat, and it's annoying. So I just cough to try to get rid of it. But it's very minor. So yeah, so there you go. So I have taken the plunge and gone for Starlink, and I'm very happy with it. But let's get back to that prioritized service. That's the main reason why I also went for the home version, to get that prioritized service, so that any event in the future that there happens to be so many people that ends up joining Starlink, and we start seeing congestions happening, because for me it's really important, particularly my upload speed, that I've got a good upload speed so I can continue in uploading my YouTube videos. So if I don't have a good upload speed there, then it's going to cause me major problems to keep my YouTube channel running, especially if I want to keep uploading in 4K footage. Which, to be honest guys, I'm seriously thinking about not uploading in 4K anymore. Just edit my videos in HD and just upload them in HD, because nearly all the channels do that, and I don't really see any major benefit in uploading in 4K. It's more a disadvantage for me than an advantage, because of the amount of data. Because I've gone back and had a look at my NBN plan. I can go into my account and see how much data I've been using per month over the past 6 months. And I had a look, and mostly it's around about the 400 gig. But there was 3 months there where I was uploading a lot of 4K footage. Like every 2 or 3 days I was uploading 4K footage onto my YouTube channel, and I was approaching 1 terabyte there for the month. So there's me 1 terabyte. So if they ever do introduce this data cap, this data limit, which I think they will eventually here, it's going to come. I can see early signs of it. And I have a feeling it'll be introduced after this half price sale is all over, after everybody's got right into it and bought all the... We're going to start seeing more data caps then. And possibly even a little bit of throttling of the speed. So that's why I decided, I'm planning to use it at home, so I'm never going to deactivate it because it's going to replace my NBN. And then when I want to go portable, mobile, I'll pay the extra $35 for that month to make it portable, so I can use it to go camping. And now I've got to look for some cheap alternative so I can use at home, like a router, Wi-Fi router with the 4G built into it, 4G or 5G, and just go and purchase Aldi mobile data card to use that, so I can access my security cameras and the network will all still work and the phones will all still work at home when I take the Starlink away. But that's not as easy as it sounds, or at least as easy as I thought it'd be, because I cannot find any router, Wi-Fi routers sold here that's got a 4G backup on it. I just cannot find any. So if anyone out there is watching that knows of one, let me know. I'm just bringing up, I've got no comments showing. Yeah, I am on Starlink. Luke, you can probably gather by now. Yeah, the NBN box in our street fills up with water, then it plays up for months. And takes too long to get there out to fix it. Yeah, it's the same what happens here. But they're told not to fix it properly. If they fix it properly, it would work. It'll work really well, but it's going to take a lot of money to fix apparently. So NBN, it's just all it is about making money. And whenever they send anyone out to do a service or something like that, they tell them to do it as cheap as possible. Don't fix it properly. Just do it enough so it works. No matter, don't care whatever the speed is. Don't worry about that. Just get it working, and that's it. And then you can go home, you can jump on the phone and call your internet provider and complain as much as you can. Nothing gets done. Like I mentioned before, when I was live on air before, using this Adamus thing that's been very unreliable. So that's why I'm using my phone now. I had a period to 2 months I had no internet. Took NBN 2 months to fix my NBN. And I can remember another period, it was gone for a month as well. So yeah. And we've got the first car arriving now. I figured it's probably around lunchtime. I got no idea what time it is. I figured around lunchtime people start coming here, workers nearby start coming here to sit down to enjoy a little bit of this breeze. Is quite nice now. We've got a really nice breeze coming through. You're probably getting a lot of wind noise on the phone, but it's too hot to be standing behind the car there. As you can see, I don't know if you can see it, I've got my awning out, and it's quite a stiff breeze blowing here, but I've got no poles out anywhere, and it's just sitting. Love this awning, and because it's such a thick canvas and it's so high, I don't feel any heat coming from that canvas. Some of the awnings I've had in the past, it was cooler to sit outside in the sun than it was sitting in the shade of the awning, because it just felt like a big sauna heat element. The whole thing just felt like a heat element in some of those cheaper awnings. But that's what you get when you spend a little bit extra on an awning. Sometimes you don't need to spend much more. I think 100% you get better value when you spend more on a lot of these items because they'll last and they do what they're designed to do. Because now I'm quite comfortably standing out here, no problems at all, under the shade with this breeze coming through. Some of the awnings I've had in the past, I would not even have attempted to set the awning up right now in the sun, and particularly if I'm going to sit underneath it. There's no way in the world. Let me see if I can bring comments up. There are ways to do it, Ben. Using a dual WAN router and then use something like a Nighthawk. Yes, and the Nighthawks, they're those things that are around $500, $600, $700, aren't they? I don't really, if I can help it, I don't really want to spend that much. And how do they connect to the routers, those Nighthawks? Do they connect via Bluetooth? No, not by Bluetooth, by USB? Or do they connect, with an Ethernet connection? Oh yeah, so you can connect with an Ethernet connection. Yeah. So you can just get any dual WAN, any router, dual WAN. So you need, when you say dual WAN, you need a router that's got two of those WAN sockets on them. I've never seen them. Can you get them? So one for the, actually I wouldn't need it. I don't think, I don't know. I haven't tried connecting. I've got the, let me show you something. I do have the Ethernet adapter. Okay. For Starlink. Anyone who's considering Starlink, after you purchase it, or even now if you already purchased, you don't have one, I suggest to go into the Starlink shop on your app and go purchase this Ethernet adapter. It's $60, but that's including postage, and it's posted from America. So get one of those. So wouldn't I be able to just get away with just plugging that Ethernet adapter through into one of the network ports on the back of the router? Or does it need to be plugged into the WAN? Because I plan to still have access. I'm not going to bypass the Starlink router because I find it really good. It actually covers most of the house. I don't have a very big house. So it covers quite a fair bit, and it's very fast. And I love where you can go on your phone and it's got all this extra data information you can get through on that. As simple as that is. But yeah, I love how I can access the data, dropouts and all that information. So I like to keep that, and I like to keep the Wi-Fi ability of this as well. Contrary to a lot of people complaining about the Wi-Fi on this, I'm actually finding it very, very good. It is very fast. So I've got no problems with it in the house. So I want to keep using that. But then I also want to connect through this Ethernet adapter to my network. So if I just connect that port to one of the network cables in there, then shouldn't that work? Or does this have to be plugged into the WAN input? That I don't know. I don't know about that. So let me see. Yeah, my router has 4G backup. It was supplied by Big Pond. Yeah, I used to be with Big Pond, but they never ever gave me a router with 4G backup on it. Using a dual WAN router, then use something like a Nighthawk with the Ethernet connection. So yeah, Ben, that's what I need to know. Does it have to be dual WAN? do I have to plug that Starlink network adapter into the WAN port on the router? Okay, will it still work if I just use one of the network ports? That way you can swap the modem with any type of wireless device in the future. Hit me up if you want to talk in more details. Yeah. You could keep that device for the wireless, just add something like a TP link between it and the internet connections. Okay. Okay, dual WAN will allow it to automatically switch between the two. Well, that's what I wanted to do. I'd like to be able to, I'm going away camping or somewhere. I'll just switch this off, unplug it, and without going through the settings and stuffing about with anything, then automatically the 4G will take over and keep that at home. So it has to be through WAN. It won't work if you use a LAN port. Well, there you go. That answers that. Awesome. Thanks for this information. This is stuff I did not know. Give me a buzz after this live, mate. Yeah. What I'll do is probably, I don't know what time it is. It's probably lunchtime. I'll probably, after this live feed, I'm just going to pack this away. I'm going to shoot uptown because I've got to go through town on the way back home. I live on the other side of town. And have some lunch. And then when I'm back home, I'll try to contact you. I don't know how I'm going. Is there any way you can message me? How can we contact each other? Honestly, I'm seriously going to need to set up an email address on my YouTube so that people can contact me, because it's very difficult for anyone to be able to contact me. Are you subscribed to my YouTube channel, Ben? Let me get a pen and I'll write your name down. Because when I go off, just bear with me, I'll just grab a pen. So a bit of paper here. What have we got here? Oops, stood in front of the wrong camera. So I go, oh, Kingfisher Bay Resort. Oh, I love that resort. I stayed over there for about 4 nights recently. B-E-N-D-E Longis, is it? L-O-N-G-I-S. All right, I'm going to try to look for your name and try to contact you. This afternoon. Yeah, awesome. Email. I need to just email you. I don't know what your email address is. I'll see if I can try to find it. But that'd be awesome. So it doesn't use dual WAN. Okay, so it looks like I may have to invest into a Nighthawk. I was hoping I didn't have to invest in a Nighthawk. I don't think I'll have the funds to purchase. Actually, probably, I've got some really good routers at home. Currently, I've got a D-Link, but I'm not real happy with it. But it's got the NBN modem built into it. But I've got 2 ASUS routers at home. I think they're AC87N or something. Now they've been around for a while, so I don't think they're going to be suitable because their Wi-Fi, I don't think is going to be fast enough to get the best out of Starlink. Because Starlink is so fast, you need a really fast Wi-Fi connection on your router to get that speed from the Starlink. So I think it's going to be a huge bottleneck, so I don't think I'll be able to use that. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to have to invest in one of these new routers with the Wi-Fi 6 on them, whether it's AC 4200 or AC, I don't know what speed I need. That's another thing I need to find out that I'm not sure about. You don't need one? What's that? You don't need which one, Paul? You don't need the... You see most of the stuff at home I got all connected via Wi-Fi. So everything's mainly connected to Wi-Fi. But the problem is, if I try to go through Wi-Fi, I haven't tried it yet, but I'll bet you when I try connecting through the Wi-Fi, through the D-Link router or the Asus router that I've got at home, that it's going to limit the speed down to half of what I can get with Starlink, the Nighthawk. Oh, that'd be good. Oh, Paul, that'd be awesome. If I don't have to invest in the Nighthawk, that would be awesome, because those Nighthawks are expensive. So you'll have to let me know, how do I do it? What do I use? Can I just go and buy a cheap dongle? But most of those cheaper dongles, aren't they just connectivity by USB? And if it's got, I mean, I know the Asus, well, trouble is I don't even know. There are cheaper TP-Link ones. Yeah, okay. I tell you what, TP-Link for the price is not a bad brand either. They make some pretty good stuff. When I was doing the computer repairs, I had my computer business, I was getting into a fair bit of starting to sell. I was selling a fair bit of the TP-Link stuff. And I did find that they didn't last as long as your name brands, like your Netgears and so on. So they did have a limited life. I did find that. Luckily, they got a reasonable good warranty period. So I was just consistently getting them replaced. And I was getting that sick and tired of replacing them all the time. I stopped selling them. I didn't sell them anymore for that reason. So I don't find they are as reliable. I don't know, that was a while back now. I don't know what they're like now. Back when I was in the computer business, yeah, that's what I found. So, but hey, I'm willing now to go back and give one a go. TP-Link ones. If you can also let me know, Ben, what's a good TP-Link one? I've got an Officeworks in town that always have good deals. They sell a lot of TP-Link gear. You think they have improved? Yeah, I hope so. So I'm talking like, 10 years ago, 10 years ago, when I had the computer business. Still ongoing price per month. Yeah, are you referring to the data with you get the 4G data? Yeah, see, I wouldn't need a lot of data. Yeah, see, I don't think I'd need a lot of data. I'll only need to use it when I'm away from home. Like if I'm coming here now, just so I've still got the phone network working at home, the VoIP phone. So that the people back at home can still make their phone calls. And as long as, my security cameras still work, which doesn't use a lot of data. So I just want to keep the costs down to a minimum, but still, reasonably good quality, but keep it to a minimum. But my biggest thing is to make sure that I get the best out of the Starlink. As long as, because I'm getting like 200 downloads and about 15, 20 uploads, which is shitloads quicker than what I get at NBN at home. In fact, one of the first times I connected it to my computer just recently, it's only about a week ago, And I've actually had it on my computer running all day yesterday and connected to my TV watching Netflix and YouTube and all that as well. I went to go download a file on my computer and I clicked on it and I'm waiting and waiting. I thought, strange, didn't download. So I clicked on it again and I waited and waited because I'm used to a graph coming up and showing a bar that comes across. And there's no bars come up. And I thought, hang on, I wonder if it's already downloaded. I went to the downloads folder and he's there, 2 of them on there. It just, I've never had that before, guys, on my computer PC at home. I've never been able to click on a reasonably sized file size like these were and download Bane just as quick as that. Yep. So, do I have, if you got phone service, I got phone service through VoIP, VoIP, Voice over Internet Protocol, which is what the NBN uses nowadays. Ever since the NBN came in and we had to get rid of all our old copper type phone lines, and now we plug the phones into the port in your data thing, modem or whatever. I guess most people now don't have a home phone, they use mobile. I got a home phone because my mum doesn't know how to use a mobile. Yeah. So yeah, so that's, boy, the wind has dropped down and holy man is it hot. What happened to that breeze? Actually, let me close this door. I think I blocked it. Yeah, the wind has dropped into a stinker of a hot day. Whew. So before it gets too hot, I'm going to pack this away. So let me get out. I've got to touch the screen. I've been sport with gigabit down since 2020 so often. Oh yeah. Yeah, so I use Engine, E-N-G-I-N, and I'm thinking about getting rid of it. I've been using VoIP probably for, I don't know, 20 years plus. Hey, FJ Camping and Touring, how you going, Steve? I tell you what, I could do one of those beers now. I'm far out, it's hot. Actually, let me go grab a drink now and I'll be back. I need something to cool down. I'm seriously going to have to put my ice machine back in here. Oh, some cold water. Oh, cold water. Ah, your brother's trying to call me. I'll have to call him back. Did you like my mobile phone ringtone? I just selected that last night. Is it lunchtime? I don't know what time it is. Oh, this is nice. Tell you what, I'm not sure where I got this from, but it's a sparkling deep spring, sparkling natural mineral water. Oh, it's the clearest water I have ever drunk. It is so beautiful. I've had this pack for yonks, ages. It was sitting in behind the main lounge chair in the lounge room, and I saw it there the other day, so I grabbed them. Oh, it's so refreshing. It actually tastes like water. Whew. Boy, you're going to be 12:30 here. Okay, you're in New South Wales or Victoria. It's 11:30. Cool. Alright, I'm going to go get something to eat soon. It's good to get away at the house today. And get down and sit down on the banks of the river. Gosh, imagine if I could camp here. I wouldn't like to right now, it's too hot. But have a look. Look at that. Literally a couple of steps behind me. I'm right into this river. Check it out. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that a nice spot? But it's starting to get too hot to come out here and do these type of videos now. So I'm probably going to lay back a bit on the videos production the next few months. I won't be putting a video out every 2 or 3 days. It's just too hot to do anything outside now. I'm not used to it. It's not so much the hot, it's the humidity. And I've got to set up another 12-volt vehicle for an old mate of mine this Friday, which I hope it's not going to be as hot as this, because to be honest guys, if it's going to be hot like this, I don't think I'll do it. I'll tell him, and I don't think he's got everything he needs. He's only just starting to order stuff from Energy today. There's no way it's going to turn up by this Friday. I'll have to tell him, don't bother turning up until you got everything. I don't want to do it twice. Particularly in the stinking hot shed. It's too hot. Can't work. You can't get it. It goes in above over 40 degrees Celsius with humidity in there. It'll kill you. It's just getting too hot now to do stuff like that here. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know. Hungry Jacks. Trouble is, I don't really want Hungry Jacks again. I'm a bit sick of Hungry Jacks. This is better than McDonald's. Trouble is, I pass the Hungry Jacks on the way home. I could, there is a Kentucky Fried Chicken next door. I might go and eat at Kentucky Fried Chicken in the aircon. I haven't been to KFC in a very long time, but I won't get I'll just get their wrap. I'll buy their healthy wrap with some fries and an icy cold Coca-Cola drink and sit in the aircon. Hey Steve, what's today? Huh? What's happening today, Steve? This afternoon? What's it, 11:30 now? 2.5 hours. Oh, you must be getting excited now. Hey? Hey, okay, I'll let you can announce if you want to what's happening to this afternoon. Oh, that's right, Pepsi crap. Oh, geez, you might as well drink pee of that Pepsi crap. Oh, gosh, that's the only trouble with KFC, it's the Pepsi. Yeah, but I don't know if I really want another Hungry Jacks. I had Hungry Jacks again last Sunday night. Was it Sunday night? I think so. No, it might have been Saturday night. Yeah, last Saturday night. I don't know. Might have to go to Hungry Jacks so I can get me icy cold Coca-Cola. Oh yes, the electrical system hopefully gets wired up this afternoon. Don't forget this check out Steve. Steve this week is going to start uploading, releasing the videos on the 12-volt install. on his FJ Cruiser that we did when he came to Bundy a couple of weeks ago. So he's got the first video released, midnight Thursday, is it? So keep an eye out for that. So apparently his electrician went around there yesterday to have a look to see how much work, what he's got to do. And he was Steve was saying he was very impressed with Thursday night, midnight, yep. He was very impressed with the wiring, the setup that we did. So, yeah, so I got another one to set up this Friday, but it's only going to be a simple setup. The guy just wants to power his angle fridge and some LED lights, but he also wants to be able to power a sound system that can draw about 100 amps in the future. So he's already got the angle fridge. He's got one of those kick-ass 120Xs, which he thought was a 120 amp hour, and I told him it's not 120 amp hour, it's 100. But he's fine with that. So maximum he's going to draw out of that is 100 amps. So it'll handle that, no problems. I wouldn't draw any much more than that out of a single one of them. You all know what I think of them, those batteries. Yeah. Whew. I've got my, what's my battery percentage on? Let me just check for you. Just bear with me. 72%. My battery percentage is on 72%. I think the last time I charged it was last Friday. I haven't charged it since Friday. So it's been running the Starlink here for quite a while here now. So average it draws, it's right now consuming 49 watts, 46, 49 watts, 230 volts, 0.2 amps AC consumes, which the important figure that you want to know is what does that translate in DC that's coming out the battery. In my case it's around 2 or 3 amps thereabouts. When you first turn them on and they boot up, they will draw up to 100-150 watts, but then once it's started and it's stabilized, then they don't use a lot of power. So these Starlinks, you can get away with a decent quality 300 watt pure sine wave. And in fact, you don't even need to buy a inverter. Just go and buy one of these EcoFlows or those other brands, popular brands, I can't think of the name, Blue Eddy, a small battery packet to Blue Eddy. You'll be able to run your Starlink off that for quite some time. In fact, you'll be able to get one of these Blue Eddy things, just a little one. You don't need the big one, just a little one. Plug your Starlink into it, run it, and then get your cigarette lighter from your Blue Eddy and plug into your system in the car if you don't have an inverter in your car, and just keeps that Blue Eddy charged on peak charge while your Starlink is operational. A lot of people complaining that they're not 12 volt, but they use stuff all power, very little power. You can go and buy there is a 12 volt battery bank brick you can buy, but it's about what, $300-400 here in Australia, and you believe they actually sold out. But shit, man, that's a rip-off, man. And the power draw is probably even worse than what you'll get through a half-decent inverter. Now, I'm using one of the most efficient inverters that you can buy. Victron are very efficient, particularly this particular model that I've got. So your inverter, you might find you plug it in, it may use more than 2 or 3 amps on average per hour. But even if it uses 3 or 4 amps, that's not a lot. It's a lot if you only got a 100 amp battery. It's if you got a single iTech World 100 amp battery, which are not 120 amps, they're 100 amps. I always said I'm never going to talk about that again. And I've got to keep my word about that. I'm not going to talk about that battery again. And yeah, especially if you want it run overnight. Let me see, any other messages? Did I say kick-ass? Oh man, that's a big mistake. That's no good. There's nothing wrong with kick-ass, guys. Kick-ass, they make some good shit, man. I can't complain at anything that I've got from kick-ass. I cannot complain. I'm talking iTech World, not to kick-ass. What a big mistake. Far out. Anyone from kick-ass watching this? I meant to say iTech World. I've got nothing to say bad about kick-ass. Of all the solar panels I've owned from kick-ass, they've all been absolutely amazing. They perform unbelievable. The LED lights that I got from kick-ass, they just perform great. I've never had. I've got one of those battery banks. You know when they had the 12 amp hour battery banks, and that thing still works except for the which is a real pain because I used to use it all the time to charge my razors, electric razors and stuff like that. Just little stuff that always gets in the way. You got no power point spare for it. I go whack it in this thing and charge it up in those little lithium battery packs. They were 12 amp hours. It's got the USB sockets and all that on them, like a battery pack, like your Blue Eddies. But they were only about $250 or whatever. That thing is brilliant, except I dropped it one day, and ever since I dropped, well, I didn't drop it. I opened the car door and it fell out the car and landed on the cement. And there's no marks or anything on it, but ever since that happened, the inverter doesn't work in it anymore, which is a shame. So I'm kicking that ever happened, because I was constantly using that. Now I still use it at home. I still got the USBs and all that, but I've noticed of late that when I press, sometimes I've got to press the USB button about 10 times before it'll actually turn on. So there's something wrong with the button there. So I think it's well and truly out of its warranty. It'd have to be 3 years old. It'd be at least 3 years old, so it's had a good run. I've used it a lot. I'd love to be able to replace that one day. I don't know if Kick-Ass still makes them. I don't know if they still sell them. Yeah, did I say Kick-Ass? Yeah, no, it's not the Kick-Ass. I'm talking about the iTech World. Kick-Ass. Good stuff. Good stuff, Kick-Ass. Very good company. Unfortunately, they don't, for some reason or another, it appears that they don't support content creators anymore. I wanted to get a deal on their 3000 watt inverter, or I guess get a loan of it to do reviews on it, to test the PowerPool 12 volt Mercury PowerPool 330 amp hour PowerPool battery I got in this thing. But yeah, they got back to me and said they don't collaborate with YouTubers anymore. So, which is a shame, which is bizarre. I'm kind of thinking that's a strange decision by their management to do that. because I know a lot of you folks are going out and purchased a lot of the kick-ass gear that I've reviewed in the past after watching my videos on it, in particular their solar panels, which I got to do an updated review on that solar panel, that 300 watt solar panel that they gave me for doing that review. And in fact, that review is there on their product website for the 300 watt ultra lightweight solar panel. If you go to the Australian Direct or Kick-Ass website, you'll see my review alongside Steve's review from FJ Camping and Touring as well. Now, Kick-Ass did give me that 300 watt solar panel for that review. I didn't pay for that. So, but unfortunately they don't collaborate with YouTubers anymore, because they got contact back to me after I tried to ring them and left messages. No one rang me back. I left emails, and after about 4 weeks they got back to me and said, sorry, we're not collaborating with YouTubers anymore. The management has made the decision. So, beats me why they did that. Okay. Alright. Anyone got any questions? Fire away before I leave. Ask me any questions you want to know about my setup, about Starlink. Talking about Starlink, guys, my first video on Starlink is going to be nothing like videos that you see everyone else filming on. I'm going to start talking about the different satellites that I've owned over the years. I started using satellites for my internet connection about 30 years ago through a company called Wide Bay Internet in Bundaberg. It's one of the first internet satellite service that you could get. I still own that satellite dish, and it's still on the roof of my house. It's been sitting there for over 30 years now. And it was at the stage, it's going back to the days when you got the old dial-up. You know, the old dial-up, you go, all those noises, you had to dial up, you had a modem in your computer, and you dialed through to get internet access. Well, what this system used to do is it used to dial up to a server, and then it sends out the information out through your copper lines, but then when it comes back, it came back through the satellite, and there used to be huge delays, and it was really expensive. Like, I don't know, it was paying like 60, 70 or 80 or even $100 for like 100 gig data limit back then. Could have even been 20 gig back then, being that many years ago. So that's where it all started with, that technology. And now it's come down. It's amazing to see what Elon Musk, I think his name, has come up with, the technology, and this how it works. Because when it first came out, and I heard about people using them on boats and caravans that are moving, I'm sitting there thinking, how the hell is that going to work? The boat's constantly moving. How the hell is this going to work? But then I didn't realise the satellites are constantly moving at different points. And the way these work is they got like a beam. You know, they just set up, they point in the southern hemisphere. Hang on. Yeah, Kick-Ass are not people friendly anymore. Yeah, I've noticed that. Like I said, I tried ringing them a number of times and they never answered me phone. And they never replied to the messages, and I emailed them. It took them 4 weeks before they didn't even ring, they just emailed me back. And not people friendly anymore. Used to be able to get technical help on the phone, now it's a message system. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Kick-Ass. They've gone off the brink a bit, and in fact they don't seem to be bringing out a lot of stuff like they used to. No, not going to the botanical gardens today. If we did, I would have been there instead. My sister had to pull out. The little fella that was going to come with us, he's feeling a bit crooked this morning. He was feeling had started getting some dizzy spells last night. So he stayed home, and then my sister decided I'll just go and do grocery shopping instead. So I thought, oh well, I walked outside the house and it wasn't too hot at the time. Thank goodness I got a nice breeze coming through now. This is a relief. So I decided to, I might as well come out here and test out this Starlink, and it's brilliant. I hope it stays like this. I hope it doesn't change. It stays like this. In fact, I'm going to talk about this in the first video, but the last few days, particularly yesterday, there's this website you can go to. I think it's called Starlink.sx. S for Sierra, X for X-ray, or SR. Something like that. It could be SR or XSX. I can't remember. You go on there, and it's a website that opens to that shows the whole Earth, and it shows all the constellations, it shows every Starlink satellite in the world. So you can go to your home base. You're using this thing. You can go to look for your home where you're located. Right click on it and set that as your home location. And then you'll get like a shaded area covering your area that'll point to the south. And inside that you'll get another shaded area. Well, that shaded area is the coverage area Starlink 6. That what are you doing, Steve? You think I love it that much? I'm gonna have a drink now. So okay, so go to that website and it shows you your area that's coverage, and in there you can see all the satellites that's in your area. So at any given time in the coverage area, there's usually around about 7 satellites within sight that's accessible to your Starlink dish. So, and they're constantly moving. There are some that moves from the southwest, goes to the southeast. There are others that then come from the southeast and goes to the southwest. And they go progression, and they go right around the world. The one that moves from the southwest, sorry, not southwest to southeast, from the southwest to northeast. That particular one goes above about 550 meters above the earth. They're all around about that. Just off our coast, pretty much over Fraser Island. It goes right over, it goes over the top part of America. Then it comes back down. It skims the west side of South Africa. Then it comes back down below Australia, and then boom, shoots right up above through here, and it just constantly does that. And then there'll be other satellites that follow it behind it. So when it's out of sight, then there'll be another one that's pretty much, yeah, see ya, that's pretty much following behind it. And then you got more satellites that come from the other direction. Which was it? I think it was from the southeast that went to the southwest in that direction as well. So at any given time, you've got 5, 7 satellites in your area that is able to connect to. So it doesn't track the satellites, even though they move so far. Well, it does track the satellite, but the dish doesn't move to track the satellite. So a lot of people get confused. They think the dish, I've seen some comments of people saying that, you know, the thing's got to move so it tracks the satellites. Well, it only moves when you first turn it on, because when you get them, they're in a store mode. And then when you turn it on, after a while, the dish will go flat. And then once it's picked up the satellites and it's calibrated and it's all working fine, then it'll point south. It'll point to a southerly direction, as I showed you before, up on that angle. And it'll remain that way. It'll stay that way until you, this is that car pulled up, I know it's just doing it, and it'll remain that way until I go to turn it off and put it in store mode. Now make sure when you're traveling, when you finish using your sat dish, that when you go into first go into the app and go into the settings, I think it's the settings, and make sure you put it in store mode, because I've been reading on the Facebook groups, a lot of people are not putting it in a store mode. They're not storing it properly, and then they go put in their vehicles, and then they're traveling, they're moving and all that, and then they go to use it again and it's busted, doesn't work, it won't work. So you got to make sure you always store it properly before you pack it away and travel with it. And when you turn it on, it'll automatically go out of the store mode by itself. So make sure you do that. So this is what I'm going to talk more details about this when I start doing my videos on the Starlink. That's why I haven't rushed out to do a video like everyone else has done. There's literally thousands of unboxing videos out there, of videos of people, you know, taking them out, showing you how to connect it, showing the speed test. I'm not going to do all that, because there's plenty of other people doing it. I'm going to get into more of the details, how it works, how to look after it, etc. So that's why I haven't released a video out on it yet. So when I do release, I haven't filmed it yet, I haven't started filming yet. When I first started, I'm going to talk about my other satellite dishes at home. I've got 3 at home at the moment. There's a big one that's about 2.4 meters wide in the backyard. There's a little one that I started first using over 30 years ago. I first started using satellite for internet access. And then there's the other pay TV one that we used to have. So, but they work different. They work on the satellites that are more stationary. Well, they're not stationary, they move with the Earth. So, but they're always in the same point. They're always in the same location. The Starlink are not. The Starlink goes around the Earth. I think there's something like 3,020 up there now. I think there's more than 3,020 Starlink satellites. Elon Musk eventually wants to try to get something like 30,000 up there. How crazy is that going to be when that happens? But they all follow each other, constantly moving. So that's why these dishes, the way they work is they track the satellite. It doesn't move the dish, it's just got a beam that just follows the satellite coming in. Boom, it tracks that. When it gets close to out of range, it'll go to the next one that's coming in behind it, and boom, it just keeps doing that. So as long as you've got a clear area like I have here, with no trees now, don't think you need to have an area that's just absolutely void of any type of vegetation or trees anywhere. It's quite amazing, just a small area in the sky that it does need to use, because just to the left of me, let me show you, I've got all these trees here. It's not affecting it at all. So there's the Starlink. So it's pointing to the south. And you see the angle. You see all these trees here. Okay? So they're not affecting it at all. So right there. Now, when I went away camping a couple of weeks ago, I did take my Starlink with me, but I didn't use it because Rob had his, so we just used Rob's. And there was a shitload of trees, guys. I didn't think it was going to work so well. There were shitloads of trees surrounding a whole lot, a lot closer and taller than those trees. Yep, a lot taller. And they're surrounding our whole camp. And we were getting to 100, 150, 200 downloads consistently. It got to the point there was about 6 or 7 of us connected to it. I never noticed it dropping out. It surprised me just for how well it worked. Now it did drop out, because you can go on the app and see the dropouts, but when it drops out, it's only like at most 2 or 3 seconds. So if I actually had tried to attempt to do a live feed then, it probably would have failed. But look, now I've been going for an hour and a half on my phone, and not once has it dropped out, and I'm connecting to the Starlink. So, but I've got a pretty good clear line of sight to the south. So the better the coverage area you're going to get, the less dropouts they get. Where you're going to run into dropouts is if you've got a lot of trees around. Because then what happens, when one satellite goes behind the tree, then the next satellite following behind it might still be behind the tree on the other side. So it's going to drop out. But when you get the dropouts, they're only short, because the satellites come real quick. And then if you're just browsing on the internet, or you're just streaming Netflix, something like that, you're not going to notice those dropouts. And that's what happened to us when we were camping. We didn't notice those dropouts, because the streaming, because it's so fast, it's just, you know, pre-downloading the videos, and you're watching it, and then it might be a 2-second dropout where you're not going to notice it, even when you're browsing on the internet. So the only time you're going to notice those dropouts is if I'm doing stuff like this, you know, streaming live. Then you might get some dropouts, as Buck noticed when he first used it for the first time, where there was quite a few trees around. But if you set up in a location where you've got good coverage, you can see there's no dropouts whatsoever. Yeah. At the camp, how far away could you be? At the camp? Ah, you mean with the signal? We were quite some distance away. I find as long as you got a fairly direct line of sight to the router, and because Rob had his caravan, right, and I was behind his caravan, and I noticed when I went to my camp, because the signal then had to pass through the caravan, it was still working, but it was weaker. It was like 1 or 2 bars instead of full 5 or 6 bars Wi-Fi signal strength. But then when we went to the other side, where Stephen had his big hexatarp set up right on the other side, I'm not sure how far that was, but we were sitting under there with relatively strong signals, about 6 of us streaming on this, and no one complained about dropouts. So yeah, it's actually quite good. I know some people have complained about their signal strength is not very strong, and it's true because it's mainly using 5 gigahertz and you want to use the Wi-Fi 5 gigahertz to get the maximum speed out of your Starlink. If you go to the 2.4, I don't think that's going to give you your max capable speed you can get out of Starlink for downloading and uploading. So if you're paying this much for the device per month, there goes a train. Check this out. Where is he? Hey, just wait. There you go. Sorry if it's very jumpy. It's a sugar cane. I'm amazed. Gee, the sugar cane, it was running late this year, probably because of all the rain that we had. Alright, I'm starting to lose my voice here, guys. I'm going to need to go get some cold drink. So I'm going to call it quits now. I've been on for an hour and a half. Actually been on longer than that because I was on live before using my Adamus connector here. But again, it failed on me. So it's a bit, still very buggy, that thing. I know in the past I've always said I'm going to contact the company and find out what's going on. Well, I've never done it, but this time I am. Because I'm paying a monthly service for this thing that doesn't work. So I'm going to cancel my account with it and just use it just for recording videos instead of going live. So I'm going to log off now. So thanks for joining, guys. And we'll catch up next time, eh? Sweet. See you, Luke. Bye.